All right. Well, good morning, Rotary District 7770. Welcome to Conversations with Rotary Action People for Friday, November 20th, 2020, 11/20/20. My name is Donald Hovis, your CWRAP host, and I'm from the Chicora Rotary Club in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Pleased to be joined this morning by Katie Bear. Katie will be joining us today, I believe, from California. Katie, we'll get to you in just 1 second after some announcements. Got some great questions to ask for you, and we look forward to you here talking with us here today. But those of you on the Zoom call, thank you for being here. Those of you over on the district's Facebook page, thank you for being there as well. In honor of today being Friday, November 20th, 2020, do you guys know it's Peanut Butter Fudge Day, National Peanut Butter Fudge Day? So how about you introduce yourself in the chat box with your name, your Rotary Club, and if you like peanut butter fudge, great. But if you like fudge in general, tell us your favorite type of fudge in the chat box when you introduce yourself. And throughout today's program, if you do have a question for Katie, post that in the chat box as well. We ask that you do keep your lines on mute throughout today's presentation. And if you post a question in the chat box, we will ask that to Katie for you. Introducing your CWRAP team, our public image chair from the 5 Points Rotary Club in Columbia, Mary Gass. Good morning, Mary. And our district communications officer from the Somerville Evening Rotary Club in Somerville, Terry Moore. Good morning, Terry. All right, so Katie, first of all, let's have you tell us where you are today and who's joining you.
Fantastic. Well, I was a little confused this morning as far as the time change. So we are actually doing our presentation at a local park. So this is where we're at. I'm from California, Woodlake, the Central Valley. And so I actually have two of my companions here today. We have Mr. Gordy. Gordy, come. Good boy. Who is Pumpkin. Up. Come. And she is 9. So these are my two assistants today. Can you go on the side? Good girl. So what they're here to do is to show you guys what service dogs are. I want to kind of educate the individuals if you guys are confused between service dogs, therapy dogs, and I can kind of give you guys an example of what our nonprofit has been successful at over the past 20 years.
Awesome. Well, I got some questions for you, so let me get to those here. And how about when was the Assistance Service Dog Education Center founded and why?
So Donna and Gerald Whitaker, who are not here this morning, they founded this program in 2002 to keep at-risk high school kids in school. So I was actually one of those at-risk children. I had a kind of a hard time growing up, and to help kids get motivated and excited about going to school. Plus, it also taught them how to think about other people than just themselves. And I think especially during your high school adolescence, it's so important to start thinking about other people than just me all the time. So they founded it in 2002 and almost a little over, 20 years now. They've been doing really successful. We've had such a great time, and we've actually placed almost 500 dogs around the country.
So what is the difference between a service dog, an emotional support animal, and a therapy dog?
So service dogs are dogs that are actually trained to perform a task for their person, their client. These dogs are able to go anywhere that their clients are. So airplanes, restaurants, movie theaters, they're pretty much that person's arms, legs, or anything that they need. An emotional support animal is a dog or a cat that can be in a home that is otherwise not pet friendly. So they provide an emotional kind of companionship for an individual. And a therapy animal are actually dogs or cats or even llamas that can go into hospitals, convalescent homes, retirement centers. And those are animals that are only able to provide that support through an organization, but they do require training just like a service dog does. So a lot of people get confused because they go, this is a service animal, but a service animal requires a lot of training. They have to be the epitome of perfection when you go out into an establishment. And so just to make sure to educate people, it is very confusing nowadays with all the different guidelines and, you know, there's different kind of circumstances for everything, but I just want to make sure people understand what those differences are so they can better. I like to make sure people aren't giving other, you know, good, well-trained service dogs a bad name when they want to bring their pets places. I understand that. But at the same time, we want to make sure that a dog that's going out to be somebody's diabetic alert dog or seizure alert dog, we don't want to take advantage of a system when we have an actual working animal.
So what kind of clients do you help?
So it's funny because Donna and Gerald didn't really start this program off to, you know, necessarily get clients. They wanted to help the high school kids, but it's funny because word started to spread and we've helped everybody from, we've done seizure alert dogs, we've done diabetic alert dogs, we work with kids with autism, paraplegics. Our biggest thing recently is we love helping our veterans. So our program really tries our hardest to never ever let a veteran have to pay for their service animal. So we've been really successful at that. We've had some great opportunities. Civilians that they're not having to be so fearful. These dogs really understand when they get anxious, and they provide such a companionship that medication and therapy and things of that nature just don't seem to really do. So it's funny because, you know, it's just a dog, you think, but it's really so much more.
How many dogs have you placed in the history of ASDEC? And ASDEC is the Assistant Service Dog Education Center.
So we've actually, we're coming up on almost 500 dogs that we've placed in all the time that we've been working. Don, like I said, we had a really small goal when we started this just to help the at-risk youth, but then it just exploded. We have dogs in over 35 states right now. So everywhere from Florida, you know, I think we have a couple in Texas. It's just really been amazing to see what a small nonprofit can really accomplish.
What is the average cost of a service dog?
So with our program, we are considered low cost in a sense, just because we don't have any paid employees. So in places like Santa Rosa, their dogs are coming out to be around $30,000 to $35,000 because their trainers are paid. All of our trainers at our nonprofit are volunteers. So our cost of our dogs are considerably lower, still an expense, but at the same time, it seems a little more manageable to be able to get. So we tend to charge about $15,000 to $17,000 for our service animals, and that requires the 2 years of training, the upkeep of the animal, the exposure that is required, like trips to the mall and things of that nature. So we consider it to be low cost, but I do understand a lot of individuals, they can't really raise $15,000 to $17,000. So we have had a lot of support through our local Rotary clubs that have helped donate money to get dogs for other clients. And we've just had such a good response and a good partnership with these clubs. And so it's been really helpful, but I do know that most people cannot spend that much money on their animals, but in the long run, we have been really successful in making sure if a client needs a dog, we'll find a way.
What things are you doing in your community that pertain to service dogs?
So with our service animals, most of it's education, you know, teaching people what the differences are. Like I said, a lot of people tend to take advantage of a system that doesn't really know what to do with service animals yet. I actually started 2 years the after school program. So now I teach the Woodlake High School students how to train service dogs. Because of COVID, we haven't been doing it recently, which has been just an absolute tearing at my heartstrings because I love my high school kids. But our big focus too is helping kids before they get into the system. We want to make sure that these kids understand that there are other opportunities outside of where they're from. And when they start thinking about other people, it really just opens their mind to the possibilities.
All right, so we'll have some questions now coming from the audience, but before I do that, I see everyone on my screen in terms of everyone that's on this Zoom call, and I see our man Rich up in Little River has a very special guest joining us today. I see a little gentleman there, young Rotarian. And sorry, folks, I'm on site at my Rotary Club, and they're setting up for our meeting, so you may hear some noise in the background. My apologies. But Rich, how about who's your special guest there, real quick?
This is Ethan. He is just turned 7, and this is his second Rotary meeting of the week. He went to our Rotary Club on Wednesday and is between online sessions at his online school today.
Well, great to be with us, Ethan. Thank you for being here, buddy. All right. So, Katie, the first question I have is, are you a Rotarian right now?
I am a Rotarian. I'm actually the president of Woodlake Rotary. I became an official Rotarian last year, and so they said, you have enough enthusiasm, let's make you president. So now I'm the president of the Woodlake chapter, and I'm very, very happy to be a part of such a great club. We actually did our wine auction yesterday for the foundation. We kept it small, we kept it safe, but we raised over $1,000 for our foundation. And I think Gordy and Pumpkin are actually, what do you think, Gordy? I think they're honorary members of Rotary because they're there enough, so works out.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations. We're glad to see that you are a Rotarian. So how do you, as the trainer, know how to teach the dog for different issues?
So just like people, dogs like to be paid for what they do, right? Most of us anyway. We start off with food. We do start off with 8-week-old golden retriever puppies. We tend to like to use Goldens for their disposition. They have really good personalities. Plus they have these large mouths that are able to pick up large items, but they're also good enough to be able to pick up small items like dimes and credit cards. When we start teaching them, we make sure we use the basics. Gerald and Donna love to use the word increments, and everything is done in baby steps. So we start off teaching them how to pick up items like toys, and then we transfer to different things. At the end of the 2 years of training, they learn how to turn on lights, push wheelchairs, pick up crutches. They can close and open doors. And so when we start off with the 8-week-old puppy, by the end of the 2 years, they can do over 90 commands. And so just like people, it's all about patience. Most people don't have as much patience as is required, but at the end of the day, it's a great job to have because you learn how to appreciate an animal that wants to do nothing but love you. So we have a good time. I know, your life's hard.
And for those of you here on the Zoom call, I've just posted a link in the chat to their website. So if you want any future information on them, you can find it there, I'm sure. This is a comment followed by a question. We have viewers on here who have had several golden rescues. What other?
So we actually train a couple golden and labradoodles and a couple labs. We tend to like the goldens the best because they calm down a little quicker than a lab does. Not saying there's anything wrong with an enthusiastic dog, but some of our clients may have a little bit less mobility. So we like a dog that not only enjoys going out, but can sleep and be relaxed as well. People tend to really enjoy the doodle breeds because they're hypoallergenic and they don't shed as much. I have 3 goldens myself. This is one of them, and my Roomba hates me, but at the end of the day, I really do enjoy the dogs. Yes, I know.
All right. And folks, if you do have a question for Katie, please post that in the chat box at this time because I only see one more, maybe 2 more here. So are there any dogs who have not been able to be trained to be of service?
So we rarely have release dogs. We call them release dogs at the end of the day. Maybe they just certain areas. Our release dog ratio is very, very like minimal. We tend to find that if a dog isn't able to be a full service dog, they can still help maybe a person with PTSD, really just being a good companion rather than anything else. But we have found good jobs for all of our release dogs. At the end of the day, if we do have one, they just end up making great pets. Maybe they just don't have the temperament to go into malls or restaurants and things like that.
And do the dogs get recurrent training?
Yes, so we, since COVID happened, we've actually been, we just recently started coming back, keeping it safe, under 10 of our volunteers. But we usually have our dog training lessons twice a week. When we worked through the Wood Lake High School, and so it has been a little bit of a backtrack, but because of our trainers' patience and our consistency, we are still getting really successful service dogs. But COVID's put a kind of a mess in everything in the world. So, you know, we would just be a small part of that. But I think that we have a lot of optimism for it, and we have a passion for what we do. So it hasn't stopped us yet.
And our special guest, unfortunately, I think I called him Ethan earlier, but it's Easton. Easton has a question and says, how many dogs do you train each year?
So we tend to do a litter of 8 puppies every year. So, you know, each year we have a litter of 8. So we have about 16, I think we have 18 dogs on site right now. So that's super fun. You know, we get to deal with everything from the puppy stage to the sassy teenager stage. So we tend to do about 8 dogs, maybe 9, depending on the litter size. Reputable breeders. The reason we don't do dogs from the SPCA and such is just because we don't know their genetic background. There's nothing wrong with a great rescue dog, but when we do train a dog for 2 years and give it to a client, and then they find out that it has hip dysplasia or some issues with cancers, it's really sad for that client to have such a long time or short time with their dog. So we tend to do our breeding program really selectively, so then the people can end up having their dogs for, you know, the entire chance of their life.
And I think you may have answered part of this next question, but I will ask it anyways. So where do you get the dogs? And if a person has a dog already, do you train them?
So we have, I mean, a lot of our clients still have dogs. You know, they'll have like just dogs at home. Our dogs tend to just be, it's funny because they'll come perfectly trained, you know, dogs, some new stuff. But yeah, we've really had good success with incorporating our dogs into dogs in their own household. Honestly, our golden retrievers are just too nice for their own good. But they really just make that family. And I have seen it often. It doesn't only help the client, it helps the family. So I see a lot of times whether it's PTSD, that can cause a lot of strain on a marriage. You know, these families are getting really stressed. Whether it's diabetic alert, I've had some clients that have young children. And so instead of the parents having to stay up all night and worry about their child's blood sugar dropping, they now can trust this dog to help them out. So, I mean, they just do so much more than provide companionship. They really do help the family. They help the environment, and they change lives. It's really awesome.
Do the dogs have a special vest when they are working?
A special task or desk, would you say?
A vest. Do they wear a vest?
Yes, they do. So Pumpkin and Gordy don't have theirs on today, but if you guys do go on our website, our vests, they can vary anywhere from a mesh style to the yellow ones that we use. When you guys have a dog, a service dog, they don't often have to wear their vests. Most people tend to have an ID of some sort, but through our program, we do like to make sure that the dogs are recognizable. As you noticed this morning, I'm losing my mind. So they're not as in their uniforms as they should be. But we like to make sure that people are recognizing them as a dog that's working. So imagine it like a uniform. So my biggest thing, I like to educate people on making sure, I don't care if it's a service dog or a regular dog, it's always important to ask before you pet. So we just want to teach people that no matter whose animal it is, it's always polite to ask so we don't ever have any issues there.
Well, I want to say thank you for an amazing presentation. We appreciate it very, very much for being here. I got one final question here for you.
Okay, go ahead.
Do the dogs act differently when they are in their vest?
Yes. Yeah, we tend to see that when their vests are on, they know it's a job. They definitely understand when that's placed on them. They have something to do. We tend to notice that they really enjoy it. They get excited when they see their vests because they know that they get to go to work. And so, yeah, we definitely see a change in their disposition when they have a job. But if you guys want, I can show you some of the things that they're trained to do. That's up to you guys if you'd like. Gordy's here to help out, huh?
Absolutely.
Perfect. So when we start with our training, we start with ideas. Donna and Gerald really thought about, what do most of these clients need? And we kind of take, we can pull off our jacket, we can pick up a water bottle. But if you do have a disability and you aren't able to do those things, a lot of times people tend to think that there's some kind of burden on their families. They tend to get really self-conscious of these things. And that's why we've understood that dogs make the best companions, because they don't judge and they're always willing to help. So I'm going to show you guys with Mr. Gordy some of the things that they're able to do. We'll start off first with the idea of a jacket. If somebody's wearing a jacket and they don't have the mobility to be able to take it off, we have this dog here help us out. Pumpkin, stay. Gordy, can you tug? Gordy, watch me. Tug. Good job. Gordy. Tug. Good tug. Tug. Yeah. Tug. Good. Yes, good job. Sit. With us, but if we did have a dryer, Gordy could pull out the clothes from the dryer. He opens them, and then we have a basket here that he's able to put it in. So Gordy, I don't know if you guys can see it, but here we go. Get it. Put in the basket. Sit. Good job. Yes, sit. Also things like a credit card. If you drop a credit card on the ground, this is a business card. Gordy, wait. Watch me. Get it. Bring it. Oh, we put it in the basket. Very good. Yes. Can you get it? Good boy. Bring it. You're a ding dong. I love it. Good job. Bring it. Yes. Good. Can you sit? Good boy. Give us a wave. Very nice. Good. Yes. We also have opportunities, so we have them pick up things like water bottles off the ground. Get it. Bring it. Yeah. Yes. We have a bow. Very good. Heel. Sit. Yes. Good job. So when we start to teach our dogs these things, we really want to think about what the client needs. So we've had everything from them turning on lights. We've had them learn how to pick up things super small, large. We just really kind of thought out of the box and making sure that we have an opportunity to help these individuals with whatever issues that they are having. Would you guys like to see, I think, the cutest one of all? This is not something that a service dog necessarily needs to know, but if you guys are willing to see an adorable trick, I'm willing to show you.
How
Let's
about
see.
let's
Gordy, go lay down.
show us a trick.
Okay. Pumpkin. Here. Gordy, down. Stay. Pumpkin, up. Good. Can you see? Ready? In the tree. Up. Good girl. Both. Notice all the treats and all the kitties and all the land. Head down. Amen. Very good. You're such a brat. Good girl. So when you have an idea, you have a dog that really wants to work for somebody, that's our biggest goal, is to just show people that animals can be so much more than just a pet or a companion. They can really make a difference. And I know personally, since I went through this program when I was a kid, it changed my perspective on giving a little piece of something that you can do. I call it a gift of love. When we do this, we just really want to thank you guys. Rotary, the Wood Lake Rotary was actually one of the reasons why we started. We were a centennial project for them. And so it's just grown to help so many people, myself included. And at the end of the day, I'm so appreciative to be able to meet individuals that have such compassion and, you know, that little spice for life. So thank you guys for having me today, regardless of how flustered I was.
Well, I don't think we saw that, and you did a tremendous job. So thank you very much. All right, so just some announcements as we end the CWRAP week for our district. Tonight at 5 o'clock, hopefully you see a lot of you on the Zone Summit, 5 o'clock, and I believe it's also again tomorrow. If you need information on that, you can find it in the calendar within DACDB. I believe you still may be able to sign up for the event as well. It's all done on Zoom, so easy way to be part of a Zone Summit. Those of you that were on happy hour last night, thank you. Sorry I missed it, but I'm sure it was fun by all. Coming up on Monday on the next CWRAP, we have Darla DeMonta from the Carolina Forest Sunrise Rotary Club going to be speaking with us. And then we will be taking a Thanksgiving break. So no CWRAP on Wednesday or Friday next week. Do save the date of December the 18th. That'll be our last CWRAP for 2020. It will also be our ugly sweater Christmas contest and some Christmas trivia. And we would love to see a huge turnout for that. So December 18th at 11 o'clock. All right, so Katie, you probably can't see the chat, but we did have a viewer that says, thank you so much. Love your enthusiasm and love what you were doing. So thanks again. We do appreciate it.
Thank you guys for having me. You enjoy the rest of your time, and I'll stick around for any more questions you guys have. But thank you guys, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of your holiday season, okay?
Thank you, Katie. I will conclude with the Rotary four-way test. Of the things we think they earn, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Have a wonderful Friday and a wonderful weekend. It's going to be gorgeous and warm, so get out and enjoy it. We'll see you on Monday for the next conversations with Rotary Action People. Take care.